Hi there guys, it's Marguerite with Wreaths by Marguerite again. Welcome back to the channel. I have been requested quite a bit recently to make a swag. I didn't have time over the holidays to do so. So I thought what better time than to do one for Valentine's Day. This is very simple, very easy. You could put a lot more on it, but I thought, you know, what I put on it was just enough. Stay tuned and you'll get to see how to make this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them in the comments. This is a fun Valentine's Day swag. Not the traditional red, white, and pink, but you got all the colors that are in the conversation hearts, which are the main candy for Valentine's Day. Do you like them? I love them. I'm a big fan of the orange and the green. Let me know which are your favorite in the comments. So come on, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go. Okay, here are the materials that I'm starting with. I did a couple trial runs by attaching two separate ribbon tail bundles to the frame. I'm using a burlap swag, and it is, let's see, I want to make sure this is the longer one. So this is at least 26, 28 inches. I'm not sure because I took the tip on this side and folded it up. There's a piece of this tinsel tie that comes out about 6 inches or so. So I guess if it's 6 inches, yeah, that's about 28 to 30 inches. It's probably the 30 inch. I took the other tags off to be ready for the video. So this is this burlap swag. First thing that I did was I took all the branches and I equally separated them to both sides. And then I went back and forth through the whole thing and positioned them where I wanted them to be. If you notice in here, it's kind of flat because I tested laying out the sign where I wanted it to be. This is the sign we're using today because the theme is all about conversation hearts. This is the base mesh we're using. Mesh is the solid foundation of any wreath or swag to help give lift to the ribbon. I chose several ribbons. I have a 1.5 inch conversation heart, 2.5 inch conversation heart, a multicolor pastel stripe, which is also good for Easter, but the colors match perfectly with these conversation hearts. And then I have 3 different ribbons that I'm using. I have these out still, even though I pre-cut all the ribbon tails, because we're going to make at least one bow to put on here. So let me get this stuff over and out of the way. And I wanted to do some attachments today. So I had bought a couple of years ago a little Valentine's necklace with these little conversation hearts on them. And there were 8 of them. I think that should be enough to do what I want to do. And I cut them off of the wires and threw all that away. There's little holes on each side of this white lid to the heart that wire can fit through. So I fed wire through each side, tied a knot so it wasn't moving back and forth on the wire, so that I can attach them wherever there's a ribbon bundle. So I'm going to move those out of the way for now because we're not going to use those till later. It's a great way to use those and add some more elements. I haven't been able to find recently nearby or taken the time online to look for other conversation heart themed things. I have some of these, but they just didn't go with the color theme. Let me show you. I still have to figure out what I'm going to do with these, but these are also great for wreath attachments. I have these. Very cute. I've used stuffed animals, tree toppers, shelf sitters, anything stuffed. If there's a bag of rocks or something in the bottom of them to make them sit flat on a surface, I remove those because you really don't need to add weight to the wreath and it gets in the way. So there's that. The mesh is the green that's in the conversation heart. It's like a seafoam green. I don't know how else to describe it. This is 10-inch mesh, meaning 10 inches this way, and I cut 8 to start that are 24 to 26 inches in length. Okay, that's what we'll be using immediately. And then I did half and half with 2 different ribbon combinations for the ribbon tails. Let me get them both out. These are all cut at 13 inches in length. So the first bundle has a 2.5 inch conversation heart, and it is not directional. So the hearts go either way, so you can put this in the wreath either way, direction, and you won't have them upside down. I chose an orangey, a peachy orange to match the sign, and then the stripe on the top, the peachy orange and the stripe on top in this bundle is 1.5 inches. So you have 2.5, 1.5, 1.5. That's the first style. And then in the second style, it's the opposite. The stripe that was 1.5 inches over here is 2.5 inches on the bottom, because they make both, and why not? Then I took yellow in the center because there's yellow in the conversation heart ribbon. I know there's none in the sign, but all the colors and all the components that go together work together. And then on top, I have a 1.5 inch conversation heart ribbon versus the 2.5 in the other bundles. So that's all the bundles. Okay. The first thing that I'm going to do is move the sign out of the way, and we're going to make ruffles of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 to 3 down each side and 1 to 2 in the center. That's what 6. Yep, that sounds like 8. And I debated on putting mesh in the center to elevate the sign, and I decided to go for it. If it doesn't look good, I can always take that out. So today's method with the mesh is called the woodland ruffle. What we're doing is we are taking the mesh long ways in front of us with the curl side up. That's opposite of the direction that it's on for like a pancake wreath. This is curl side up. You put something in the center to hold it down, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it on each end and then ruffle it up to center. I usually roll it 2 to 3 times, sometimes 5, I don't know, anywhere in between 2 and 5. The goal is to hide all your cut edges. This is the only part of the mesh that's really going to unravel. That's a hard word today, apparently. So we want to hide that when we can. So I'm doing that with little rolls on the end. I'm rolling it 1, 2, 3. I think that's enough. Clipping it in the center, and then I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing on the other end. 1, 2, 3. All my cut edges are hidden, and I'm going to ruffle it right up the center by crawling up the mesh to the chip clip, which is centered up the top. Get it in my finger, and then I'm going to come back here and put it in 2 of these twist ties, the built-in tinsel ties on the work form. These are available for most of the major resupply people. So I'm going to do that, then I'm going to go over here and then do this other center. That's just my habit. You can do it in a row, you can do it however you want. So let me put this in the center, curl side up, curl it from the end, 1, 2, 3. Get that nice and hidden, that cut edge. Put your clip in the center. If you're not sure where your center is, you can always take the mesh and fold it in half to find your center. But after how many wreaths I've made, I don't really need to do that most times anymore. But if for some reason you don't place it into the ties centered, you can always adjust it slightly. Just never grab the outer edges of the mesh when you're adjusting its position. See, there we go. Because you will disturb the design of the mesh, meaning there's a bunch of little strips of I think it's polyethylene, whatever it's called, in the poly mesh. So they line up nice and neatly, but if you pull on them, they're going to end up curvy. And while some people won't notice and won't mind, that's not how it's supposed to look. So I'm going to go back and do this one here and see where we're at. That'll be the finish of the first side. So 1, 2, 3. It helps to roll the curls from the edge more than in the center. You're more likely to keep your mesh lined up with the outside edges, and you're less likely to get a piece of it sticking out of the side. Yes, on one of them I did, but it's in a place that no one's ever going to see. It's going to be under the sign. The only person that's ever going to know is you. Alright, so let's get this curled up. 2, 3. Grab the center, ruffle it up the center, take that clip off. Now, if you notice, I'm doing it so that the curl side is up. You could also put it in the frame with the curl side down. That's up to you. I prefer it with the curl side up. That's just my thing. Like I've always said, there's not a right or wrong way of doing this. There's your way. We just give you guidance as to what's going to work the best. You know what I mean? Now, I'm going to stop right here for a second because I took this piece of mesh the same direction, horizontal to me, that I did the others, but I know the sign's going to go in here and none of this will get seen at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the whole thing and I can either just turn it so it's the opposite direction, or I can open the twist ties, take it back out, turn the zip ties, the twist ties in the other direction, and take this mesh vertical to me instead of horizontal. Okay? All mesh frays, it's a fact of life. The less you handle it, the less likely that's going to happen. So this comes out to meet, this side of the ruffle comes out to meet the edge of these, so I think that works well. And we'll do the same thing on the other side now. We'll do one end and then the other, and then we'll do one in the center. Let me take this off. If you're interested in looking up this base, the number on it is XX7784W4, if you want to look it up on Google or on any of the resupply warehouses. There's lots of them out there. If you're interested in learning about some of them, shoot me a message. I'll be happy to tell you who my favorites are. Here we go again, curl side up. Clip it in the middle. Now there's a point sticking out here because I didn't roll it perfectly, but I can usually just put it in there and no one will ever notice. Alright. Up the center, ruffle, ruffle, ruffle. And again, this is called the Woodland Ruffle. I learned it from Tiffany Clements. Let me put that in here. And then after I get these next two in, I will lift it up to show you. You're twisting those twist ties tight and low against the mesh so it's not wiggly, wobbly. So I'm going to come down here at the bottom. I only cut 6. Okay. That's okay. Let's see. That might lift up the sign enough in the center that I don't have to cut a couple more pieces, but that's going to be part of the process. We will see what works best. If that's going to work, that's saving materials. When you save materials, you're able to bring down the investment for your customer. And I'm sorry, I tend to just fling equipment, scissors, wire cutters, all the things. Hopefully that doesn't come off too loud words today on the microphone. Let me get that in there. Bottom line, in the end, when this is done, you won't see much of the base. As I've said before, and I'll say again, mesh is like the bra of your creation. I learned that from my business coach, Damon. It supports and lifts up everything else that's involved. Gives it support. Sounds like a bra, right? Whoop. Turn it around. Curl it. And then ruffle it. That end is sticking out a little bit. I can tell right now without even really staring at it. I can just put it in there like that. So remember, on this center ruffle, I am putting it in opposite, not the same as the ones on each side, so that there's ruffles hanging out the edge of the sign when it's done. Okay, so I'm going to stand up for a second. It's good to stand up and sit down. That way you don't get numb. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you. And I'm going to go ahead and put 2 more ruffles in. I'm going to do one here, and I'm going to do one up here. So let me get the mesh. Move this out of the way for a second. I am like a bull in a china cabinet, so I just kind of fling things. I'm not mad, I promise. So this is the mesh. I got this years ago at Joann's. It doesn't give a color, but I call it seafoam green. Spring decorative mesh. Alright, I need my rotary cutter to use on the cutting mat to get out so I can cut the mesh without cutting the table or anything else. Alright, so I'm going to go with 2. That one's 23. I'll go ahead and use that at the bottom because it's more full. So I'm not using a bunch of extra materials. Who knows, I may end up adding 3. We'll see. 26 is right here. I prefer to stand when I do the mesh, but it's only one piece, so I'll put that away after a while. Always close your rotary cutter as soon as you're done. Okay, I'm going to bring this back over here. I'm going to put this one down here, so we'll do that one first, because it's pretty curly already. The further you get into a roll of mesh, the smaller the curls that are already formed on it. Nothing wrong with that. Just keep that in mind. When I use mesh from a whole roll, I usually make sure that the mesh that has a wider curl, like this one does, on the bottom of the creation, and the ones with the tighter curl on it on the top of the creation. I think it just flows better and sits better. And I think I'm going to just put it in this way. So I put it up and down in the swag. So I put it in this way just to fill in. But up here, I think I'm going to go, so I went this way with the mesh here. I think I'm going to go this way with the mesh up here. Alrighty then. Let's see. Curl side up. 3 curls. 3 to 5. It's entirely up to you. Just enough to get that cut edge hidden so that you're not exposing it to anything catching on it. I mean, things are gonna catch on it anyway because it's deco mesh, but the more you can protect that, the better. Okay, so I'm gonna come up here, and yeah, I think I'm gonna put 2 more. I want this to be nice and fluffy. Let me double check here. I get up and look at it, and I'm gonna show it to you now. So there it is now. You know what? On second thought, I'm not, because there's going to be a bow here. Okay, so that's going to do it. So now, there you go. I'm going to put ribbon tail bundles in each set of pieces of mesh on the outside only. I'm not going to do it on the inside because it's going to be covered. You can, that's entirely up to you. Let me separate it into the 2 styles. As you can see, I already did one at the top and the bottom, and they're each different because I'm doing an odd number so that no 2 that are the same are next to each other. So over here, since the bottom has the 2.5 inch on the bottom, I'm going to start with the bundle with the 1.5 inch of the conversation heart on the top. Okay. When you're done, you can cut these shorter if you want, but I'm putting embellishments on, so I don't want to do it till I'm absolutely 100% committed and finished. So I'm going to go ahead and place this in there after I've ruffled it in the center. Folding the ribbon in half and creasing it helps you maintain the center of your bundle so it's even on each side of the tinsel tie. I twisted it a couple times and then I folded the excess over so I don't have to cut it. You can just do it a couple times and then cut it if it's easier or more your style. And then I'm just going to separate this out. So I put this to the outside. So this is that pattern. So I'm gonna put that pattern to the inside in this bundle. And you lift and separate the ribbon as you place them. And I always run my fingers over them to give them a little curl. I'm going to have to redo the ends because this has been handled a little bit. So I'm going to bring that down. I'm looking at my example on the ends to make sure I stay in line with it and the pattern repeats correctly throughout the project. Okay. I do a star pattern when I spread out, a starburst pattern when I spread out the ribbon, so it covers more area and is seen more. So there's the first one. Okay, so that means the next one is this with the conversation on the bottom. We're following the ribbon that's on the bottom really. So this was the stripe, so the conversation heart, the stripe, the conversation heart. I did it a little funky. I'm gonna have to fix something. If you didn't notice, I'm not telling you. You'll learn soon enough. All right, so I'm just gonna do 2. Oh, that's what I decided. I'm gonna do 2. I'm not going to put ribbon in the third bundle. You can, but it gets very busy and it's difficult to really display the ribbon in a really pretty pattern like that when they're so close together. And I don't want to cut it with shorter tails. I love the ribbon, so we want the ribbon out loud and proud. I'll show you that one in just a moment. I'm lifting the top 2 away from the ribbon, and if you notice, I do not grab the ribbon from the tips where it's been cut. Just like with the mesh, less you handle the tips where they've been cut, the better. So let me see. Let me show this to you. This is what we have going on for the moment. Okay, so now we're going to come over to this side and do the same thing again. So since that one was there, this one's next. I may have cut too many ribbon tails, but I have an idea if that's the case. So this is going next. You know, my phone's been quiet all day, but now that I'm doing a video, it's constant texting. It's like they know, isn't it? Okay. A couple of times, and then I'm taking these and I'm poking them down into in between the mesh, and then I'm going to separate out the ribbons again, just like I did on the other side. Run my fingers over it, not grabbing the actual tip. Positioning them, and I'm showing you that. Okay, it's coming together pretty quickly. I don't do a lot of swags. I like them. I don't know why. I always feel intimidated, but you know, I haven't been unhappy yet. So we're going back to the 2.5-inch conversation heart ribbon on the bottom. So that was that one. So this is the top one right here. It's right here. It doesn't have to be even with the one on the other side, but I have a tendency to be very matchy-matchy. That's me. You don't have to be. Okay, tuck those in. Now that I've twisted the zip ties, I'm going to separate out the ribbon, bringing the stripe to the outside, lifting them away from each other before I separate them. Alright, it's not perfect yet. We're still in the basics. So that looks like there's a lot more gap there. So this one's a little higher, so let me bring this one down just a little bit. I'm gonna change the tinsel ties that I put everything in. So I'm going to set this aside for a second, the ribbon bundle. And I'm going to bring the mesh down a little bit further. I'm going to bring it down to here. So So it's more in line with the other side. It just had a huge gap. I mean, I could fill it with more product, but I have a different idea of what I want to do. Okay, so I'm putting this back in. I'm handling it more than I like, but it is what it is. Position that mesh. I want to look at it first. Bring this down. Which one was I supposed to use? Get over there. This one. This is the one I was supposed to use. Got a couple different things going on, so I'm looking a couple different places. So don't think I've lost my marbles. I may have, but that doesn't count. Alright, let's get this all back on track. And then get it in there, and then we'll look at it again. Also, another hint, if you're looking at it and you're not sure how something looks, shoot a picture of it real quick. It's amazing how different it looks when you look at it through a camera than through your naked eye. These are pretty long at the top, so tucking it in, the ends may not be sufficient enough. I may have to cut them, but that's something we can do later on. Okay, let's get this all placed correctly. And I'm going to show you in the camera. That definitely looks more even to the other side. And then this one needs to come up just a touch. And I have the advantage of looking into the video camera feed to see what I need to do. This time I'm not going to fling it around like I usually do. Alright. Okay. Oh, that's the center. Was I putting it in the wrong one? Is that the problem? Okay, that. Boy, I just... That goes there. You know what I did? I used one of these tinsel ties on each of these bundles of mesh. How funny. How very funny. Okay, I'm going to put this one over here with that piece of mesh. You're learning a lot of the boo-boos that can be fixed now, aren't you? Okay, so there's this one here. I'm going to move it over here just a touch to match up with that one over there. This one will be a little bit lower. And because I'm handling it a little bit more, I'm getting a little extra fray. Not enough to worry about, but that's what happens. Let me look at it this way first. So this needs to be bent that way just a little bit more. I'll put it in and I'll give you another look. Tuck that in. And then I'll look at it in the camera. Keep in mind, a lot of this is going to be covered by that sign, and I will stand for that. So I'm going to go ahead and stand after this. I'll play with the ribbon more once it's more assembled. Let me take a look at that myself. It's pretty even. Get a little bit more wiggle room when dealing with the swags versus a round wreath. Get this all positioned. It's fun and different, you know. Don't do the same thing all the time. Not necessarily a round wreath or a oval wreath. Let me look at this one on the top. Get these little critters out of the way. This is the center. So those go there and those go there. Okay, that's all set. So now it's time to put the sign on. I am going to sit for a second again. I put the sign on the rail at an angle to see where I wanted it. And then I marked it on the back and attached 2 pipe cleaners where I put the markings with 1/4-inch staples. Never go more than a 1/4-inch staple. If you need to do that, use the cable tie mounts, and I'll share that again with you. Let's zoom it in a little bit. Let's see. This chair. Go back over here and bring that over here. See this little plastic thing? It's 1 by 1 inches. It's called a cable tie mount. They make them with or without double stick tape on the back. These happen not to have double stick tape. If you need to use these, you always apply a little bit of super glue to the back of the sign, attach this, and then I always go back around while it's curing. Right away I put a string of hot glue around it just to hold it in place while I'm working on the creation and while the glue underneath is curing. So let me put that out of the way. Bring us back out. There we are. And stand up. I'm also going to take my glasses off. Sometimes they're more of a hindrance than a help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my handy dandy 6-inch plastic embroidery needle to help me guide the pipe cleaners down through the frame so that I'm not fighting with the mesh. You can do this. I'm just not as patient as I used to be. I'm going to put that over there and that over there. So that's going to go, yeah. So let's start with the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pipe cleaner through the eye of the plastic needle and drive it through the back of the wreath. Pull it all the way through while it fights you. And then I'm going to come back, I'm going to hold it and try to one-handed prepare this pipe cleaner to go back through. Because I'd like to tie them off together. Okay, maybe that won't work. Pardon me. If I have to do it a couple times, I have to do it a couple times. So, that is, where is that? There it is. Maybe. There. Yep, there it is. So I want to keep it close enough to the first side of the pipe cleaner I put it in. We're having a fight here. Jeez. But far enough away that it will go around the wire frame. On the other side of the wire back there. So it doesn't just pull out and fall off. That would be a bad thing. Press that through. They make smaller ones that you can easily find at Walmart, but I got tired of using those because when you get a thicker wreath, turn it over, you're really fighting it. You think I'm fighting it now? Not even close. Okay, we came through a little of the mesh. Where it came through is not a horrible problem, but I'm going to move this one because they're both on the same side of the wreath. I failed to get it through at the right side. Getting my fingers in there. It disappeared. Where'd you go? Okay, let's go back up front. Oh, is that it? Yes. Okay, so there's that one. And there's that one. We're going to pull it taut, but not all the way into the wreath because we don't want to mash everything. We want it to sit nicely on top. Twist it, twist it, twist it. I'll come back at the end and twist it all up and tuck it in or cut off any excess on that. Alright, so then this is going to go down around here. I don't need this anymore to protect my sign. I try to keep the signs laying on the wrap they came in for as long as possible so that they don't get scratched. Nothing's worse than make a beautiful wreath and then getting to the sign and it's ruined. It's happened. I don't like it when it does. So I do my best to proactively keep it protected before I use it. Okay. So, actually I do need it again because I'm flipping this over one more time. I lied to you guys. Okay, let me turn it over. This time I'm going to not let it go through the mesh. Alright, here we go. And this time I got it right. One pipe cleaner's on one side of the mesh and the wire in the center. The spine of the swag, as you would call it. Get that in there and check and make sure that it's flat and not cockeyed. Yes, I messed up the ribbon, but we shall fix that. Alright, so here's the angle I'm going with on the sign. Okay. Alright. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some bows. I have a lot of extra here, so I might use those, incorporate those somehow into the bows. We'll see. Alright, fluff this back out. Put everything in its proper spot again. Let me look at something. I'm going to go ahead and go back and put another one of these in the center on this side, I think. No? Maybe I'll just do two. Mix it up a little bit here. How's that? Put the 2.5s only. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an inverted V there after I ruffle it so that it faces the outside a little bit more. The sky is the limit of the things you can choose to do when you're making projects like this. You need a basic idea, but then after that, it's up to you how far you go with it. See that? I like that a little bit better. I'll finagle it a little bit more later. So we're going over and doing the same thing to fill in this little bit of a void after we reposition all the ribbon. Noticing I'm still not handling the ribbon from the end, the tips of it. So we'll take another one of each. And I have the conversation hearts on the top. Okay. Ruffle it up the center and make an inverted V so it stays pointed to the edge of the wreath and not shoved up in there and not being seen. Okay. Is that where I want it? That's where I'm going to move over one twist tie. One. Just one. It's a nice thing about pine and these forms. You've got lots of choices. Okay. Like that better. Okay. Alright, there we go. So now, let's make some bows, shall we? I think I'm done with this. I'm going to put it away and try not to make a complete disaster area. So I chose, there's no blue in this, so I didn't do any blue. That's fine. Put this up here and an angle there. Okay. And I'm going to bring out my ribbon as well as my bow maker. This is called the Easy Bow Maker, the Easy Bow Design Pro. This is a larger bow board. There's a more simpler version that's not, this one's longer and has more plastic to it than wood. It's entirely up to you which you have. You can make your bows in your hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this pattern at the back, so I'll use that first. Then I'm going to follow it up with purple because purple's in this ribbon. Again, we're looking for all the colors involved to mix and match. We're going to use 2 solid color ribbons that are also, and then we're going to use this. So this is going to be one, let me think, top, this and this, one on each side. And that's going to be, we don't want that to be there. Okay, so we're going to go with this here, and we're going to do, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 4 loops of these, 2 loops of these, 2 loops of these, 2 loops of these, 2 loops of these, and 2 loops of these, okay? So let me set everything down, and I like to put it in the order that I'm going to use it, but the purple will frame it nicely. We're gonna go, so let's see, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. So we're gonna make some long tails for the moment because we might do something with them. Stay tuned. I don't want to say if I'm not doing it. I'm gonna give them some nice long tails for the moment, making them 14 inches long, putting them in the frame, twisting the ribbon on the side of the loops on so that the outside of the ribbon will face the outside of the loop, putting it in the center and twisting it again so I can make a loop on the other side. Again, I'm doing 6-inch loops, and I remember I said I'm doing 4 in the purple, the lavender. It might have something to do with the fact that it's my favorite color, but I'm not going to admit it is why we're using 4 loops of the purple in the back. It just might. It might be. I won't admit it though. So I'm going to do that again. Twist after I put it in the pegs. Do it one more time on this side. And I'm going to, this time we're not going to twist because once the last loop of a ribbon is done, you don't need to twist it because otherwise you're going to have the unfinished backside of the ribbon facing up. If you don't twist it on the last loop, you're seeing the finished side of the ribbon. It's very difficult to see in the case of a solid color ribbon, but, where are my glasses? It's still a fact, it's still happening. Okay, I'll leave that out because I might do a second bow. I'm definitely doing a top bow. And remember I said that this ribbon was not directional. The hearts go each way, so we don't have to make sure it's facing the right direction and do some of those special tricks to say make sure both sides of the center match. I did 14-inch tails this time. I'm going to also do 6-inch loops again. No, I'll do 5.5 because we want to see a little more of the purple. Then if we were to put it in at 6 inches, it'd be a whole lot less of the purple showing. I twisted it on the other side of the posts so that it's upside down here so that I can make the loop on this side. And since we're only doing 2 loops on this side, I'm not going to twist the ribbon again. So we're going to go a little under 6, scrunch it down in the posts, and make another 14-inch tail. Okay, some ribbon has more of a mind of its own than others. This is definitely in the class of has its own mind. Okay. And if all this ruffling of the ribbon bothers you, you can always take a hair straightening iron on a very low setting and run it over the ribbon very quickly to get it out. But the way it is on this shiny ribbon, it looks right with a little bit of ruffle to it. So I'm placing these 2 conversation heart ribbons in between each of the lavenders, making sure one is up and one is down on each side of the conversation hearts. And I'm going back in with this one, the stripe. I'm going to take it a little bit smaller. I'm doing some different things here today. So we've got about 12 inches on that. Ruffle it up. Let me think. I think I'm going to go with one loop. And when we're done, I'm going to put it up in the center. This will be probably the bottom bow. So that's a yes that we are going to do 2 bows. So when it's all said and done, this will be up here between the 2 lavender purple. I didn't ruffle that very well. And I'm only going to do 1 loop, but 2 tails. How's that? How is that for another idea? Okay, so when it's done, it'll be up there. Okay, so now we're done with that. I have more in case I run out. I also used this ribbon in Easter wreaths. But it had all the right colors to go with this conversation heart ribbon, so I said, you're in. Okay, so now we're going to come back through with the orange and the white, the green, yellow. So far the ribbons we've used have all been 2.5 inches wide. Now we are going into the 1.5 inches wide. You can stagger them if you'd like, but I generally, not always, do all the larger ribbons first and work my way down. This I'm going to make a lot longer because I'm going to make curls in these. So we're going to do 2 of these, 2 loops that is, at 5 inches. Put it in and twist it on the other side. I'm going to place it in between the purple and the conversation heart on one side at the top, and then on the other side at the bottom. 5 inches. This is the last loop, so I won't twist it. I will just make the tail. These longer pieces of ribbon will allow me to curl them nicely, which gives more character. Let's try the yellow now. Alright. Same thing, I'm going to make them 16 inches, which is the length of the board on this side. I'm going to ruffle, twist, put it in the frame, the post. Do the same thing as I did with the peachy orange, except for going opposite, so it looks like an X between the 2 colors. So these are down and up, these will be up and down. This one will be up and down. Use the orange peachy one to make sure that my size is right, my length. I often do that because the board becomes more and more difficult to see the more ribbon you get placed in the pegs. So that always helps. Cut this off at 16 inches and we're done with the yellow. Now, I have 2 options, probably 3. I can do a single loop in the center of this 1.5 inch conversation heart to finish it off, or I can do 2 loops, or I can do 3. Since I haven't done 3 in a while, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. The third one is more for covering the mechanics, meaning the pipe cleaner and the zip tie that I'm going to be putting on it, than anything. So I'm also going to make these long so that we can curl them. Twist and put in the post. So I'm going to make these 4 inches so they fit in between and smaller than the yellow and peachy orange so that you can see all of the ribbon in one shot and not miss all. None of it's totally hidden. Okay, so I went there. I am going to twist it because I am doing that 3rd loop. This is going to stay centered. Okay, but I'm going to put in 1 loop. And it's only going to be about 2.5 to 3 inches deep. And then cut it over here. It's going to pop up in the center so that it covers everything, okay? Alright, what color zip tie do we want to do today? We can do the bright pink. That matches the edges pretty well. So I'm going to put the zip tie under the bow. All of the ribbon on one side of the bow. I usually put it on the side, to the left side to me. And remember, I'm operating as a left-handed person. You have the buckle at the end facing down towards the table, so you bring the pointy side up over here and put it through. And if you can't totally get it by yourself, that's where you bring in wire, needle nose. I'm going to tighten it up some so that I can bring it up off of the bow maker. I'm going to grab under the bottom pieces of ribbon and I'm going to hold it top so the bow doesn't go flying off. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to, if you have normal length thumbs, you would grab with your thumb and your forefinger, press down on the center and move the zip tie to the back. But I'm going to press down on the center here and do it in 2 movements to the back to get it in place. And then since we're using a burlap base, I'm going to use burlap pipe cleaners. They do also sell the twist ties that match exactly. I'm going to show you the white ones. I just got an order of the beige, but of course right now I can't find it. So these look exactly the same, are made of the same materials as the branches on the swags and on the work forms. I'm even not finding it. I don't have little ones around here to grab things and take them away. So I'm going to put this in there, press down a little bit, put this in here, and then I'm going to tighten it down some more. Too much going on the table. Some more so that I can make sure all the ribbon is placed where I want it. I hold the zip tie and the pipe cleaners tight against my fingers, pull it through my hands, and I'm going to make sure that all of the tails are down here and out of the way so I can work on the ribbon bows. Not the ribbon bows, the loops. So I usually start from the back and I go in and I put my hand in it and I spread it out to poof it out in the position that I want it. If I need to move it, so like this one was the top center, so I'm moving it down into the top center position. See there? Okay. Making sure all of those little bubbles at the gathers are worked out. I'm going to be doing this again, so I'm not going to make sure that the loops are perfect right now. This is about moving everything into position before I tighten the pipe cleaner up, no, the zip tie up completely. So that should go between the yellow and the peach. And then this, I pop this way, that covers the center, okay? So I'm going to tighten it up completely. And I'm going to cut the excess of the zip tie off only. Okay. And I'm going to bring the bow maker out of the way for the moment so I can place this. Do I want to do it here to give it more length? Like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. So that one's more to this side. This one will be more to that side. And what I'm going to do on the top is a Jordan bow. I'm not going to attach them yet. It's going to be one loop of each ribbon, and the tails will be facing the ceiling instead of down towards the floor like this one when I'm done. Okay, so let's see how I want to format this. So if I do these on the sides, and that's the center, then center. I think I'm going to do it this way. Okay. I'm going to do this and this next to each other and this there. I like to visually place it where it's going to go. And that's a center. So 2 on the back, 1. Then I'm going to do these 2 and then this. Okay. I got it. I got it figured out. So again, I'm still going to start with the lavender, and it's going to be a single loop that's 6 inches in length. The tails are going to be considerably shorter. I'm going to go with 10 just to be safe. That's a little more than I think I'm going to need. And make a single loop. So you're going to have one tail, make a 6-inch loop, scrunch it, no twisting, and cut it at the same length. Once I get it on the wreath, I'll probably alternate the lengths of the tails. So one's longer of the purple and one's shorter of the purple, one's longer of the yellow, one's longer of the orange, and one's shorter of each of those, and on and on and on. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, get that all situated. Then I'm coming back with the stripes, the pastel stripes. It'll probably look like I'm going to use up this bit of a roll, so I don't have this little bitty piece of roll left over, which is nice. Twist after gathering it, make a 6-inch loop. I'm going to have a little extra to cut off at the end, which is perfectly fine. So these are also going to be just under 6 inches because they are going to stagger one on each side. So this is extra long. That's fine. And you notice I'm putting one of the purples on the outside and the stripe on the inside and then the purple inside. A lot of mirror imaging. That's just who I am. Oh, it's time for this guy. Oh, I didn't put the... all gone. Put that on there. I'm going to go with the 10-inch tail again. Ruffle it. Twist. Put it in there. If you don't like how ruffly the ribbon is, just run your fingers over the wire. That's another way to straighten it out. It's going to be the same length as the stripe, so I'm using the stripe to dictate the size of my loop. See where we're going here? And so a head and some legs. And then a head and 2 tails, then 2 arms and tails. You want to get creative with your thinking. In the Lisa bow, there's a lot of talk about heads and tails. Heads and arms and legs. But we're not doing that on this wreath. I'm going to bring it on the other side. So see, now I have a print on each side of the lavender. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're not going to do the single next. We're going to do the double next, but it won't look like that once we get it on the wreath. Okay. You just have to trust me on this. Okay. Going with all 10-inch tails because I need to cut down some of them. This one's going to go 5 inches. No twisting on the final loop. I like to do things the hard way. Okay, that's done. So that's going to go, there's a lot more yellow here than over here, so I'm going to bring the yellow over here. Break up the colors. Twist. Put it in the, yeah, this thing. Pegs. Get over there. Curl it under so it's not so difficult. I'm going to use the yellow one to dictate the length on this. And this one's going to go over here. So you can see what I did there, right? Always remember you can reach out to ask questions. I'll put the pins in them after a while. Over here. So this is going to be a single center loop. And that's going to only be 10 inches in length on the tail. And we're going to bring that up in between the orange and the yellow, just a little bit lower. So that's going to be a 4-inch loop. So again, this loop's going to cover the mechanics on this bow, because it's going to stick out front and cover the zip tie. Okay, so we're going to grab another pink zip tie and another beige pipe cleaner. And do the same thing we did in the last thing. Do the same thing we did in the last bow. Put it under all the ribbon, making sure you get all the ribbons and the zip tie. Tighten it up enough to pull it off of bow maker. Use whatever tool you necessary to help. These are little bitty zip ties, so they're harder to get a grip on. Put one hand under all the loops, bring it up with one hand on top so it doesn't go flying off the table. And I'm done with that, so I'm going to put it out of the way. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did. You're going to use your thumb and forefinger to turn it around to the back, or in my case, since my thumb is so short. The reason I do that is because I can't hold a lot of ribbon in my hand because I have very little space here. But just remember, it doesn't stop me, so no excuses if you are fully capable, and you are. Put that in there about halfway through, tighten it up a little bit more, and then take the pipe cleaners and the zip tie tight in my hand and separate everything out into the position that I want. Fluff it a little bit. We'll have to do it again later. It is what it is. This goes in the center. And then I'm going to tighten that zip zip tie up completely and cut the excess off with my wire cutters. Okay. Move all these tools out of the way for now so we can get going on this. I'm going to do it facing me first, and then I'm going to show you. Yeah, because that stuff is like way too high. Do I want to do it upside down, or do I want to do it right side up? Because I don't want it to cover the sign. Let's take a looky here. Yeah, I'm going to go with the angling both ways. Try to keep my loops away from the sign. Yeah, I'm going to go that way. And I'm just going to ruffle it a little bit after I get it in to manipulate a little bit better. All right, back to this. This is going to go, there's the center post. I don't even need this. The mesh and the other ribbon tails that are on this are going to help elevate the bow, cushion it in place. And I'm going to, where's the other side? I'm going to pull it in a little bit, but not too much, into the frame. Enough that it settles down a little bit, but not too much. I'm twisting it in the back. I'll cut off any excess later. So I'm going to turn it this way a little bit. So I got my, where's my other loop? There it is. So, get back under there, tail. I'm going to bring the tails out this way. Running my fingers over them. Get them out of the way for the moment so that I can position everything. Get over here. Alright, so I know these are the center on each side. I'm going to put the purple framing each side of the sign. Actually, where, oh, this is right. This is the center top. So that goes in between the two purple. And I've got the conversation heart, which needs to go between the purples. So this can go up here because we're angling this. I keep trying to make it straight. That's being my problem right now. Put that there. That goes there. This comes up on top of the purple because the purple ones frame the conversation hearts. Let me show you there. Getting all the bubbles and stuff out. And they're going to have yellow and orange here, peachy orange, and yellow and orange over here in a diagonal pattern, and then that. So I'm going to come back after I get them both in. I'm sure this is what I want to do, and adjust the length of the tails. So there's that. We're going to go down there. Okay. So now let's attach this one. And that one is angled some that way, so this one's going to be angled some the other way. And again, I have lots of room up here. How high up do I want to go? Up here? Or closer to the side? I think I'm going to come up here a little bit more. Pull these ribbon tails out of my way for a minute so I can find the frame. Because I want to get pipe cleaner on one side of the frame and pipe cleaner on the other side. I'm trying to do both at once, which is counterproductive. Come on, work with me. Thank you. Nope, that's on the wrong side of the center. Come back here. Alright, where is that center? There it is. It's, gosh, it's all the way over here. Ow! Work with me. I'm smushing a bunch, but I can, nice thing about this material, we can always readjust it. This this one, put it between the pieces of mesh around the back, and pull it taut but not tight into the frame. Tighten that up a little, okay? So first things first, position all the ribbon where I want it to go. Man down, man down, man down. You need to see this stuff. Okay. I want to see if I can do it in my hand right now. I haven't done it like this in forever. I can do it, it just doesn't always want to cooperate. And there's this one. That one twists. Well, there's a will, there's a way, right? Get that all in there. I'm going to go with a little bit more secure, better made zip tie. So that's going to go this way. Well, that was no fun, but nothing we can't overcome. Worst case scenario, I could have always put it back in the bow maker, but this is a small enough bow that I can hold it in my thumbs, as you can see. And we're going to go with, the white one. It's a little bit sturdier. Where the big ones? There we go. Use this one. I'm going to use the table. It smushes the loops a little, but hey, nothing we can't recover from. Wow. Alright, get a new pipe cleaner. Bring that to the center, tighten it up more. Go back and fluff it. Wow, that thing just obliterated. Must have been brittle or old. I guess they can be too old. Let's cut that off after I tighten it. I don't like when that happens. Let's try this one more time. I can see where the old pipe cleaner is. At the end, I'll go back and cut out the original pipe cleaner. Bring that up in the end. Tighten it all up. That other one's getting in my way. Should have just cut it off then. Alright, let's try this again. Maybe I'll just go this way and see what it looks like. I'll do... Need to work smarter, not harder. Okay, so we've got one of these on each side. That's what we're going to do. Where's the purple? I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to take one. On each side. Like that. I've got those there. These here. Then after that was this one. I want to make, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that there's one of each tail on each side at different angles. And then this one's going to go towards that side. And that's going to go up. We'll do this. between those two. Actually, I'm going to do yellow up here. A pattern. So what I'm doing is a pattern, a solid, a pattern, a solid. Over here, I'm doing a pattern, a solid, a pattern, a solid. That will stay here, and that will go down here, I believe. No, we don't want them to be next to each other. So that one's going to go there, and that one will go there. And I'm just going to pull them around a little bit more. Trying to stagger them so that there's a solid color in between each pattern. Okay, so I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to take a picture with my camera on my phone so I can take a look and get a better perspective of how everything lays. I'm going to look at it on my camera, and I'm going to see where I need to do some work. Well, I definitely need to cut the tails on the top very short. So let's start with that. I may need to put another poof of mesh in there because the sides still look a little, I don't know. They need something. Maybe I'll put some florals in there. Ooh. There I go. There's an idea. Let me do that. And then I can turn my glue gun on. Get ready now. Okay, so let me bring this one in. Do the purple one first. I'm trying on the top to make sure that none of the ribbon tails go beyond the outside perimeter of the wreath. One's there. Oh, I need to cut this one down. That means I need to cut the peachy orange down some more. Anybody else eat conversation hearts? They are my favorite candy this time of year. Alright, so this has to be cut down quite a bit. Alright. And then I'll look at that and see where we are. And then this one was here. It's going to go out. I might be able to use that excess somewhere. They don't have to all be matchy-matchy in length. You want variety. It gives it more dimension. I'll show you that. Let me get that. Okay. Let's go down here. I want some of the ribbon to hang down from the bottom. I definitely still want that. Alright, so I'm not going to cut any length off of this because I'm going to curl it. I just realized, yeah, that's right. I was second guessing placement on one of the ribbons again. Okay, I'm just ruling it, you know. And I circle using my fingers. You could use anything to roll it around. You could use a mesh. Okay, I don't have one. I could use this to wrap my ribbon around to get nice uniform curls. If you can't seem to hold them right in your hands, get a little help. There's that. Don't know if I can do that many curls, so I don't. Maybe I can. Enough to make it worth curling. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. I'm just winging it here, you guys. That's a lot of the creative process. Just flying by the seat of your pants. I'm not going to use the roller anymore because I got this. I got this covered. We're going to take that one down here because we already have one on that side. Curl that a little bit better. All of this allows my hot glue to get warmed up, so that's why I'm doing this before I get everything else glued in. Okay. This should go over here. No, it goes between the two. We don't want the yellow next to each other. I will play with the ribbon all day, I won't lie. But I can't do that for a video. Running your fingers like that over it helps to get any wrinkles out or bends in the ribbon. Put that one there. I'm going to make that one a little bit shorter because I want two different lengths on the stripe ribbon. So that one goes there. Well, this one will be a little longer. And since I want that one short, this will go a little longer. So this purple one will go a little shorter. That's my plan. Alright, is this the final one? Yes. Because I got the other one there. So this should go all the way over here. Cut that excess off, curl it up a little bit, and then clean up my mess. And then I'm going to pause the video for a moment so I can go pick out some florals. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found some florals that I think will work well with this. What I did was I took a part of a bush. Right here, I don't have a whole lot of colorful stuff at the moment. And I took some of this with the pit beads that are sparkly. And I'm going to glue one here and one down here. And then I've got the greenery with the white florals that are going to go opposite here, okay? So let me start getting these prepped. I got the glue gun ready to go, but it needs some glue. That always helps. I'm going to put an abundance of glue on here before I shove it up under the sign and into the actual tinsel ties. I'll do the other side first. Let me get a little extra off of here. Get some glue over there. You can use a glue gun or a glue pot to dip these in to get them nice and covered in glue. You could also use the zipped twist ties with the ribbon end to help hold it in. That should be enough to bring it in up and under here. And don't forget, I still have the little plastic conversation hearts to put in here. But let me get this done and get everything out of the way that we no longer need. Sit there for a second and then I'll show it to you. Okay, so there's that addition of the florals here and here, here and here. And I just took the pip berries and I twisted them around the center of a ribbon roll to get the right size for myself. All right, here we go. How do we want to do this? So there's purple here. So I'm going to go with these. I put the wire through it and I'm going to wrap it around right at the, I'm going to sit for this. If the chair cooperates. This is half the fun. I'm going to wrap it around where the center is, where the ribbon tails are. If it lets me. Obviously gonna have to fix the ribbon again. But I thought these would be cute little additions. Let's see how it looks. Now the back of the wreath is not going to look pretty when I get done, but I will take care of that as soon as we have it complete. Off camera. No, don't hide. There we go. I'll bring it back out. Give me a minute. I guess this is a hider. Okay. I want to see it on a bigger screen. I am not a professional. So, you see it's right here. So I'm going to scroll in there. And then I'm just going to place those all over the wreath. Okay, my screen is just being difficult. There we go. So I got purple and orange here, so I'm going to go with green up here. Get this wire in. I'm concentrating, so I'm quieter. Come on. I may or may not use, ow, all 8. I guess there's some hot glue there. There it is. Sometimes just doing it by touch does not work. Okay. Let's see. I got that in there. Fix the leaves. Fix the ribbon. Great. Finish there. Okay. So I got that one. So we're going to use yellow and purple on this side. I missed one of those phrases. There it is. So I will go with yellow down here because there's a purple loop right there. You don't want that in the way. Fix the ribbon under this grouping of florals. Okay. wire in place. It's trying to curl the other direction. And this is me right now, not being smart and using that embroidery needle. But I might give up momentarily. Is that it? Yes, that's the end. I'll twist it back around the right direction in a minute. I want it to be... Okay, get out of the way. Okay, I know what I did wrong. I had this on the wrong side of the florals, which meant that the word on the conversation heart was going to be upside down, which is a no-go. And then we'll put the purple. Ah! That's the bottom. I can fix this. I can fix this. Okay, there we go. Let's get that up. When you add florals to mix, you have a little bit more to deal with. Okay. So up here. I'm going right here. I'm going to go through the mesh. Right there. Well, you caught me tongue out. I will go in afterwards before I shoot final pictures and cut all of this spare. This is some really stiff wire, so I'm gonna have to fight with that a little bit more later. And then, so that was 4, that's 6. Where's the other yellow one? I may not use it anyway, but I just want to know where it is. Ah ha ha. Alright, so I think, I want to see, come back here, how this looks down the center. But the difference is, let me see, I'm going to cut this off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue on each end and then the back of this. Please work. So, ow! Hot. Glue is hot. Put that through there so that it's down in there and then it's also glued to the ribbon. I am going to let that ribbon the glue cool off on the ribbon before I take it off. I think that's cute. And then I think I will do this to the side there and put purple in the center. And I'm going to do the same thing where I cut all that excess wire on, but I leave some on to put glue on to straddle the center of the bow. It'd be just one more security point to keep it on there. Hold that for a second. These tools away, but while we're waiting for the glue to dry. And it looks like I have 2 left. I may look at it later and add the other 2. I may not. But this is what we have going on. Okay, everyone, there you have it. Now you've seen how we went about putting this together. Really not that difficult. A little more time consuming than a standard pancake style wreath, a storm door wreath. But it's all the same components. You've got ruffles, you've got bows, you've got ribbon tails, you've got a sign. We've added some extra elements to, you know, kick it up a notch, and some florals as well, because there were some spaces that looked a little bit like they were lonely, for lack of a better way to put it. So thank you again for all following along while I teach you how to make something new and pretty. You either can make this for yourself or a gift for somebody, or if you're like me, you do this for a business. It's a great additional way to display a wreath in your shop instead of just the traditional rounds or ovals. So thank you so much for being here today. I know you can spend your time in any fashion, and I know that you're spending it with me today, and I appreciate that immensely. Any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. You can follow me here for free. Subscribe, like, follow. Same thing with Facebook. I can be found there as well. Same handle, Wreaths by Marguerite. That's where you find out about my tutorials and when they're coming up. Usually I record them and let the public know that it's coming on a Saturday afternoon, 9 times out of 10. My videos are on Sunday Mountain Standard Time at 1 p.m. so you can find them there. Got quite a library going now too with lots of different ideas, so make sure you check them out. Thanks again, and everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.